Welcome back to DUBBZI Bricks for another episode of Building Gotham City in Lego. In the last update we made several sets just to get the minifigures out of the set so we could have them in Gotham City. And here is another set that we'll be making today, which is the Tumbler and the Bat Chase. And I want to build the bat as I want to have a bat within the city, and I just want to use this one for inspiration, get some ideas and see how it looks. It'll also be nice to see what the Tumbler's like and whether or not I can come up with my own creation of this in a very similar size, because this does look quite good size wise. So without further ado, let's build the set up and see what we think. And here we have the set all made up, and it was fun to build. The Tumbler here is possibly the right size for Gotham City. My vehicles I do want to keep to about 6 to 7 studs in width. This is actually closer to 10, or I think it is actually 10, which, as I mentioned in the past, is too big. However, when the Tumbler is on the streets, I do feel like it does take up more than a lane. So whether or not I will go for something similar in style to this, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's worth considering. The Bane minifigure I think looks great. Love the print details on him. Only print is on the actual torso itself. There's no leg printing on there, but nice addition to the figures. Batman, this is a different version to Batman to all the other ones I've got. And this is the first time I've had a Batman with no actual weapon, so that's quite interesting to see. But yeah, another nice looking figure. And then finally we have Commissioner Gordon here. Got a couple of barriers here which should have some stripe stickers on. Didn't bother putting them on there. I have actually got some 4x tiles which have got the stripes on, so I'll probably just use those if I was going to do so. But then we have the bat here, and it's got a lot of moving parts on there. These wings move, they've got some clip joints on there, and these engines at the front move as well. And then you've got the cockpit glass which opens, but this is a little bit too bulky for my liking. Size wise I feel like it needs to be a little bit longer for this sort of like size build. So yeah, we will be doing a lot of amendments or changes to the size of the bat when we go to make it. Now my bat's not going to be screen accurate or anything like that. I just want something that's a similar principle to the bat but with our own take on there. So yeah, looking forward to starting to make our version of that. I will dismantle this one as I want to use these connection points here. I think they're going to be very useful to do. So I think what I'll start off by doing is making a new cockpit section that we can then attach those to, and then I'll start working on the other aspects of the build. So let's get the thinking cap on, get the parts out, and let's get started. And here we have the start of the cockpit for the bat, and I've tried to slimline it a little bit. So at the moment we're probably about 5 bricks wide as opposed to the 6 that the actual Lego set was. We've used the control panel that was in the Lego set, so it's got some good details on there. What I'm going to do now is just work on the next section behind the cockpit, which will enable me to attach the engines. And a little bit more progress to the actual body of the vehicle itself, and I've added the fin on the back here just to do colour swap with the parts from the Lego set, as I quite like the design of that. What I'm going to do now is work on the side parts here, the engines. I'm going to keep one made up like so. So this is from the actual set, and then we're going to see what we can create ourselves and see how much difference we can make size-wise on here. It would be nice to condense it down a little bit. Obviously, you need to make sure that it looks proportionally correct to the body of the actual craft as well. So let's see what we can come up with. And here we have the first engine, and quite happy with how this is coming along. I'm going to change this tile out to the one that looks more like a fan. I think that will look a lot better, but size wise I think it's working very well. I do think it could possibly do with coming forward a little bit more. This one sticks out a little bit more, which is a little bit more screen accurate. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is not supposed to be the actual bat from the Batman film. I'm just using that vehicle as inspiration to make my own version of that. So yeah, it's not going to look exactly like the what you see in The Dark Knight Rises. Now, with the arm sections that I've put on here, or the engine section, sorry, I have put this Technic cylinder in here that's enabled me to extend that just by a little bit, but it also means that this rotates easier as well. Previously, they didn't rotate, so that again is another plus side to that. It just means that there's a little bit more motion for the vehicle. And here we have the top section, and a couple of changes to this, mainly a colour swap, but I've also removed this part from the back here, turned it around and put it on the top, and then I put a curved slope on there. On the underneath here, again, we've lost the blue plates and we've put some of these curved tiles on here. That enables it to just keep it clipped in place, but also it's just a nicer finish too there. So I'm just going to convert this one over to look the same as that, obviously the reverse of it, and then I'll put it onto the vehicle and see how it comes out. And here we have it, our final version of the Bat, and really pleased with how this came out. I did end up changing the top of the wing section here. I removed the piece that was on the back here. I turned it around and put it that way. I ended up putting a cheese grill wedge piece on there instead, and I think it just looks a little bit tidier. I had black grill pieces on the front here originally and changed those over to the metallics ones. I just felt like it gave it a little bit more character. It would be quite nice if I could find these parts out in black and change them over. I'm sure I've got some. I think it would just look a little bit better. But all in all, this was great fun to build. It's the first time I've taken a Lego set and stripped it back and then done my own version of it as such. And this was the perfect set to do it because it came in 5 different sections. It's very easy to take apart one section, modify it, put it back on, and then go from there. But the build is very similar in size to the Lego set. It is probably about 5 studs longer in length. Width-wise, it is pretty much the same width. However, these parts here where the engines are connected, they are 2 studs shorter, so I moved them in by 2 studs. But yeah, it feels so much smaller than the original version, although it is pretty much the same size. And I think that's all down to the cockpit area. This is much more slimline. It's the same cockpit glass piece, but the original one was 6 studs wide and it was a lot blockier. So by going streamline, it has shrunk it. And also I think the body length here is a little bit shorter as well, possibly. On the back here, we have got the blades and they do move on this Technic part. And I've also put the rope on the back as well. So there will be a bomb attached to this, and we'll have an action scene or an action shot in the city of Batman trying to get the bomb out of Gotham before it goes off. Now, what I would like to do is try and find the parts out to make another 2 of these. It'd be really nice to have one of these sat on top of a building, as you see in the Batman film. But I'd also like to have one in the Batcave as well. So yeah, if we can get 3 in there, that would be really good. The majority of these pieces are quite common pieces, so hopefully I will be able to do it. It's just these joints, I might have to order some of those in, and the cockpit glasses. Now, I will be doing instructions for this set. So the people that are members on the channel, I will send the instructions over to you once I've created them. I have got a very busy next month or 2 coming up, but rest assured, as soon as I've done the instructions, I will email them out to you, or I will contact you so you can find out how to go about obtaining them. Anyway, that's all we have time for. I hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in building Gotham City in Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Massive thank you to the members of the channel. Really do appreciate your continued support. It really does help with the build of Gotham City, the Tantive and the Onyx Cinder. If you'd like to become a member of the channel, there is a link in the description of the video. Anyway, thanks for walking on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.